Okay, so we want to do a close-up part where we show the finishing dynamics here at the ankle. Okay? So you want to get this high up under your arm. Right? You're going to bring your wrist up underneath and acts as a shelf. A lot of people think that this digging in right here is what finishes the straight ankle, but it's not. It's just a leverage point. It locks the shin in place so I can get better leverage on the ankle itself. Okay? So that's one reason I want this high, so I can get this nice and locked in place. If this is going down, right, I'm losing that pressure on his foot. So this hand is coming underneath. I like to make a knife hand. It's not 100% necessary, I just like to make the hand rigid myself. I put my thumb up as high as I can, right between my chest. I take my other hand underneath, lock it in place. And this elbow over here points outward. It's just a stronger dynamic. You can try this at home. If I have my elbow out like this and I push down on my hand, it's very hard to move it. If I tuck my elbow back and I push down on my hand, that hand wants to slide down. So the biomechanics is just stronger if this elbow is pointed outward. Right there, okay? So, we take this foot, this hand comes underneath, thumb between the chest, nice and high, hand rigid, cup and saucer grip, bring this hand underneath the hand. I'm not grabbing the fingers, I'm grabbing the hand. This elbow points out. That's this, okay? Let's talk about where this sits in this hand. I'm not setting my hand in my fingers. Okay, that's weak. It sets here. Zoom in on that. It sets here in the palm of the hand. Right there. So, like this. Okay? That's why I say it doesn't have to be a knife hand, because it's the palm that's sitting inside. Locking it like that. Okay, this is pointing out. Now what's happening on this side to lock that foot in even tighter? You're gonna feel like, wait, there's a lot of space right here. Okay. I want this shoulder to move up, back, and then down. See how the elbow moves back? Here. Right. Up, back, down. Little rotation, up, back, down. That's going to be much tighter right there. It locks that foot in very tight. Okay? So if you watch here, without even having control over the hip, which we'll go over in a different section of the video, right? I'm going to have this hand underneath, lock this in place. This elbow is out. My shoulder comes up, back, down. All right? Now to go ahead and get the tap. That's without even driving my hips in for the finish. All right? Up, back, down. All right? What that's doing is this. Look at this foot. Besides just making it tight. He's a little more mobile. You can shoot with your own foot at home. When you can just move this way and find range of motion. When I rotate that back, I'm locking all this in nice and tight, see? And he has less movement down here in his ankle. Here, boom. Nice and loose and free. Locked in like this, it doesn't, see? He's already wanting to tap. On top of that, that squeeze back with my elbow puts a ton of pressure on these bones of the foot. It's also not only possible to break the ankle with this, I can break the foot depending on where I put the pressure. The more my squeeze right here is up higher toward the toes, the more likely I am to break the bones of the foot. Versus when it's lower, I'm more likely to break the ankle itself. Okay? So one more time. I have control of this. I bring my hand underneath. Not going all the way to the elbow. Okay, that will be a different lock. Putting it right here on the blade of the arm. thumb in between my chest, rigid hand, comes underneath with a softer grip. That elbow on the support hand is pointing outward. Now my locking arm, my shoulders going up, back, and down. Okay? And like I said, if I come up higher on his foot like this, up, back, down. He feels it way more in his foot. Okay? Okay. Now that you guys have a lot of the finishing details of the ankle lock itself, the submission hold, let's talk about how we control the leg in order to be able to do this lock. The position we're going to go over today is the Ashi or leg entanglement. Some people will be like straight Ashi because we're going to do it on the same side that the leg is on instead of crossing the body. Some people will just say Ashi, whatever. It doesn't really matter what you want to call it. Some people still call it single leg X because it is pretty much the same position as the single leg X card. What's important is that we know the important points of control in order to be able to finish this lock. Okay, we're going to start with the inside foot. The inside foot, instead of going under the leg we're attacking here, is going to come to the other side of the body and go to the outside of the butt, but as tight as it can and wedge up underneath. Once it wedges up underneath, you're going to lift your toes and foot off the ground. You don't want your foot flat like this. You're lifting it up, okay? That's going to make it hard for the person to turn that way. Right? My foot is down. She can turn. She has to come over my foot. My foot's over here. She can turn, and there's no impediment to her going that way. So I bring my foot to this side. I lift my toes. And acts as a wedge, controlling that hip, keeping her from turning that way. Now my other foot, my same side foot right here, the outside foot, the heel will come to the inside of the hip bone. If you feel right here, you can feel your hip bone. You want to go just inside of that. So the heel bone itself will be on the inside, and the soft tissue of your foot will sit on that bone. It's going to fit. Okay, I'm going to come here, just like that. Heel on the inside, right here. Okay, I need to get my butt as close to her hips as possible. The closer my hips are to hers, the more control I'll have over all of that. So I'm going to scoot in tight, and now I'm going to lock this leg in place. Now, a lot of times people just squeeze. I think it's just a squeeze, but it's not just a squeeze. There's also a scissoring motion happening with your legs, which is really going to lock everything in place. This knee is going to move in that direction, and that's going to help lift this hip over here to keep it from turning that way. And it's also going to lock in this side of her leg. This leg, the heel is being driven back in a curling motion right here with the hamstring. I'm curling here, right? And I'm going into hip flexion here. So I'm not extending the leg because I don't want to push myself away from her, because I would do this, right? The hips, it's in the hip. It's pulling this knee that way, driving it forward. Boom, okay? So this one goes that way, this leg goes that way. Creating a scissoring motion right here with my legs. I need to make sure that her knee is sitting on top of this thigh. I don't want her knee on that side of my hamstring. If her knee is on that side of the hamstring, I have a lot less control, especially if it's on that side of this hamstring too. Okay, so I want her knee to be on this side of my hamstring. I have a lot more control. So now you see how this is wedged up underneath her knee, locks that in place there. This is over top of her hip here, locking that in place there. This is on this side, locking that in place. So all this together, pinching, scissoring, right? Locks everything in place. Okay? See how this knee comes over top of that ankle and helps protect it? Make it a little bit harder for her maybe to peel this foot off. Okay? Try to cover that foot with your knee. Here. So now we have those Ashi dynamics. This is a very strong position. It makes it hard for her to try to sit up. Try to sit up. Put your hand on the ground, try to get up. Right? She's good, and her hip is pinned to the mat. Next, I'm going to the lock. We've already gone over all the finishing mechanics of it, So I'm just gonna go over it real quick. This hand is coming underneath, as close to the ankle as I can get, with the blade of my forearm. My thumb is going between my chest. My other hand is gonna hook up underneath that, elbow pointing away, not tucked back. Here, I'm gonna roll my shoulder up, back, down. And now, because I'm on this side and not on my other hip, I'm gonna go ahead and lay down on my arm right here. Okay? Once I get to this position right here, I drive my hips in. I usually get the finish. But one more thing to add a little more pressure is look over your shoulder on the side you're finishing to. That's gonna add even more torque to the ankle. Okay? Let's go over that real quick. Inside leg goes underneath the far hip. Outside leg comes over the top, locks down on top of the hip, heel right inside of the hip bone. Outside thigh is underneath her knee. I'm pinching my legs together and I'm scissoring. The bottom leg is going backwards, top leg is going forward. Here, my hand comes underneath, stopping at the blade of my wrist, right? I don't want to be elbow deep. Thumb goes right between my chest. My hand goes underneath my other hand, not under the fingers, but under the hand. Elbow points away. Roll your shoulder up, back, down. Lay on your leg. Right there. Drive your hips in. And look over your shoulder. All right. You do it. 1, 2, 3.